my songs, they were becoming hits for other people. There was the Byrds had a big hit. Some group called the Turtles had some hit. Sonny and Cher had a hit with a song of mine. People were sort of writing a jingly-jangly kind of song, which they seemed to have something to do with me. Okay. I got Me Babe as some kind of takeoff. I mean, on something I wrote. Well, I don't know what it was a takeoff on that I wrote. I didn't really like that sound, or the folk rock, whatever that was. I didn't feel it had anything to do with me. It got me thinking about the Billboard charts and songs which become popular, which I hadn't thought of that before.
Once upon a time you dressed so fine, you threw the bums a dime in your prime, didn't you?
I found myself writing this song, this long piece of vomit, 20 pages long, and out of it I took Like a Rolling Stone, and I made it as a single. And I'd never written anything like that before, and it suddenly came to me that was what I should do. After writing that, I wasn't interested in writing a novel or a play or anything. I knew I just had too much. I wanted to write songs.
About having to scrounge your next meal.
Mike Bloomfield said he'd heard my first record, and he said he wanted to show me how the blues were played. And I didn't feel much competitive. I didn't feel much competitive with him. I mean, he could outplay anybody, even at that point, But when it was time to bring in a guitar player on my record, I couldn't think of anybody but him. I mean, he just was the best guitar player I ever heard.
Okay, Bob, we got everybody here. Let's do one. A producer named Tom Wilson invited me to a recording session. And me being 21 years old and incredibly ambitious and a big Bob Dylan fan, I decided I was going to play on that session. There was another guitar player who sat down and was warming up and just was playing far beyond my abilities. And he turned out to be Mike Bloomfield. I packed up my guitar and I went into the control room where I belonged. After the first couple of hours of the session, they moved the organ player over to piano. And I said, well, here's another chance for me. So I said to Tom Wilson, why don't you let me play the organ? I got a great part for this, which was total bullshit. And Tom Wilson said, oh, man, you don't play the organ. You're a guitar player. I said, I got a really good part for this. I can play it. He said, Al. And just then someone came and got him to take a phone call that came in for him. So he didn't say no. Like a Rolling Stone remake, take one. What are you doing there? At that point, he really could have just busted me and got me back in the control room. But he was a very gracious man, and so he let it go. And so I began to play. In the verses, in the beginning, you hear me come in always an eighth note behind the band to make sure that I played the right chord. The band would go boom, boom, and I'd go like that. Boom, 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 like that. They started playing it back. After about a verse or two, Bob said to Tom Wilson, hey, turn the organ up. And Tom Wilson said to Bob, oh, man, that guy's not an organ player. He's just... Then Bob said, I don't care. Turn the organ up.
Once upon a time you dressed so fine, threw the bums a dime in your prime. Then you, people call, say beware doll, you're bound to fall. You thought they were all kidding you. You used to laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Now you don't talk so loud. Now you don't seem so so proud about having to be scrounging your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home? Like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone.
Like a Rolling Stone definitely broke through somewhere. I didn't feel like radio had ever played a song like that before. I know I'd never heard a song like that before. So, you know, and everything I'd done up to that point had led up to writing a song like that just effortlessly.
Like a Rolling Stone originally had about 50-some verses, as I recall. And people who think it's long now, you know, should have had a look at it when it was raw. I think he always made exactly the work that he wanted to make at the time he wanted to make it. The audience came to Bob. And that's one of the things that makes him so unique in the history of American music, is the audience came to Bob Dylan.
I've never been that kind of performer that wants to be one of them, you know, like one of the crowd. I don't try to endear myself that way. Now, do performers look for applause? Yeah, yes and no. It really depends what kind of performer you are. Like the story on Billie Holiday, you know, when she sang Strange Fruit for the first time, nobody applauded. You know, you can leave somebody in a kind of in a spellbound way, and I don't know. There's a lot of things going on when there's a performer on stage and there's an audience out there.
Green corn, green